Ohio State University puts out some very fine football players. I can hark back to the days of, where are we going here? We could go back to Bill Willis. We could go back to Paul Warfield. I mean, there's some really good football players here.
Welcome back to More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon, a special NFL Combine edition. Well, plenty of college players will be lifting weights, running, and meeting with NFL teams, all in an effort to impress them and improve their draft stock. Plenty of Ohio State Buckeyes here, and who better to talk to about the Buckeyes than cleveland.com columnist Doug Lesmerises. Quarterback Dwayne Haskins trying to break some trends here.
Yeah, no Big Ten quarterback has been drafted in the first round since 1995, Kerry Collins, which I've written about a million times over the years. He is definitely going to break that. The last Ohio State quarterback taken in the first round was Art Schlichter. So we're talking 4 decades, basically. The question is, who's going to go get him? So Dwayne Haskins is going to throw here. I don't know that Dwayne Haskins really has that much on the line here, because I think he is who he is. I don't think he's going to test great, but he doesn't need to. He's not going to be a quarterback who's going to wow with his athleticism, and he's going to throw here, and I think he'll throw well, but the tape shows that he throws well. So whether it's the Giants at 6, the Jaguars at 7, somebody moving up to get him, I don't know that the Combine's huge for Dwayne Haskins, because he is what he is, and he's pretty good, and he's either the number 1 or number 2 quarterback with Kyler Murray.
He is a guy that appears to be built for success in the NFL, I think. Is that, you've seen him play more than I have.
So he's built for success in like the old NFL. He's a traditional pocket passer, but when you think about the guys who have gone in the first round lately, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, they're all really good athletes. They all can move. They all can throw on the run. They can run when needed. He's much more of a traditional guy. He's much more of a Tom Brady kind of guy, maybe more like Josh Rosen, maybe a little more like Jared Goff. So those guys can succeed, but you've got to hit all your throws then, because I think he's not going to do a lot out of structure. He's going to do very well in structure. So when he gets compared to a guy like Kyler Murray, he's a completely different quarterback. But what he does, I think he does as well as any recent quarterback in the draft.
A guy that has a lot on the line now is Nick Bosa. That's a guy that was aiming at this.
He gave up the rest of his college football season to be healthy for now. I've talked to his dad several times since the decision was made for Nick to sit out after the 3rd game of the season. He tore an abdominal muscle against TCU. And they wanted him to be healthy for this, and he is healthy for this. They have said that he was getting healthy right like at the beginning of January, right around that Rose Bowl time. He's been training in L.A. I think they feel good about where he is. And again, like Nick Bosa, I think will test well here. But what's he going to do, rise from the number 1 prospect? And he's certainly not going to fall. So again, like in terms of Ohio State guys who have a lot on the line, I think all he has to do is show he's healthy, and he's either going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft.
And he's another guy that's built for success at the NFL. What he does well, NFL values big time.
Yeah, I mean, he's physical. Like his brother Joey, he has great technique. He was taught very well by Larry Johnson at Ohio State. He's got defensive end blood, genes in the blood. I guess your genes aren't in your blood. Wherever your genes are in your body, he has them. His dad and his uncle were first-round draft picks in the NFL. He's got it all. Again, as long as he is who he is, he's going to be really good.
Who are some guys that maybe aren't as, on top of the radar, that are flying under the radar for the Buckeyes to keep an eye on as well?
Yeah, so they have 10 guys here overall, which I think is 3rd among all the colleges. Kendall Sheffield is a guy at corner. They have a great history at Ohio State, from Bradley Roby to Eli Apple to Garyon Conley to Marshawn Lattimore to Denzel Ward with the Browns, all first-round corners out of Ohio State. Kendall Sheffield's not going to be a first-rounder. He had a really good Rose Bowl. He's really fast. He's almost as fast as Denzel Ward. I think he's going to turn some heads with his 40 time here, and I think he might end up as like a 3rd-round guy, but he's going to run really fast. That's a guy to watch for in combine drills. Dre'Mont Jones on the defensive line, really athletic. Not a run-stopping defensive tackle, but everybody wants pass rush from tackle. I'm curious how he jumps, his agility to drills, that kind of stuff. Also, I think his bench press will matter, because he's not a run stopper. He's an athlete. He's a long, lean athlete. I think people are curious maybe how he fits exactly. And then an interesting guy at a not very interesting position is Michael Jordan. He played center at Ohio State. He played guard at Ohio State, and I think he might be a tackle. I think that might be his best position. He has a lot to show, I think, here. He came out a year early. He's not a first-rounder, but I think if he tests well, he will be a guy that will be in the second round, a very high offensive line draft pick with a lot of versatility.
Another guy who's a local guy from Akron, Paris Campbell. That's a guy with some speed.
Another super fast guy. Paris Campbell is thick, too. Like, he's not this scrawny guy who puts up a 40 and can't get hit. He's really strong. It's like almost, I did a story about him as a sprinter, and like he doesn't have a sprinter's body. He's like built, and he's super fast. I don't think he's a down-the-field receiver in the NFL. I think you want to get him the ball with short, quick passes in space. But I think for the right team in the second round, if you use him the right way, he can change games for you. And so I think he's going to confirm some things, I think, with some very good testing numbers. But when you put together what I think he's going to size, strength-wise, plus that speed, I think it's going to be a pretty rare package.
What are your thoughts about Jones? He's a guy that people talk about in the second round, maybe even sneaking up into the first round. If he does well and tests well here at the Combine, do you see him potentially creeping up into that first round?
Yeah, it's hard. Defensive line is stacked in this draft, as we know. A lot of people have the Browns getting a really good defensive lineman, maybe a defensive tackle at 17. I don't think he can do much to get quite to that range. I don't think he'd be on the board for the Browns at 17. But if he tests really well, everybody wants pass rush from the interior now. If he can give you some confidence that, yes, he's good enough against the run, but he can be a game changer against the pass with his drills here and that kind of thing, I think, yeah, like maybe late first round, early second round. I think with the way the game is trending, he could fit a lot of those things and maybe move up that high.
It is set up for the Buckeyes to have a number of first, second, and third round guys. I mean, we're talking about how many guys that are going to be in the first couple rounds.
Well, I wrote a story about this a couple months ago. It's probably not going to happen, but it's not impossible that Nick Bosa and Dwayne Haskins could go 1-2. Mm-hmm. Nick Bosa is still the number one pick in most mock drafts right now. And if you like a quarterback, we have seen over the years teams go and get that guy. So the Niners sitting at number 2 right now aren't going to take Dwayne Haskins, but maybe you get in a bidding war and somebody jumps up. That's been done before. It's happened a couple times, I think 4 or 5 times in the history of the draft, but that's what they're talking about. You have 2 sure guys in the top 10, Dre'Mont maybe in the first round, and then they're going to have a lot of guys off the board in rounds 2 through 5. I think at least 8 or 9 of these guys will be drafted, and that'll be another good draft for the Buckeyes.